Hello and thank you for watching. This is STSC back again with my first LEGO Mecha, Gundam RX-78. I want to start this video by explaining that I am by no means an expert Gundam fan. The only piece of Gundam media I've ever watched is the first Mobile Suit Gundam movie, so I don't actually know very much about the franchise. All I know is that they look cool, and I'm interested in maybe building a few out of LEGO. So I decided to start with the original. Taking a closer look at the head, you can see that the Gundam doesn't actually have any eyes. I wasn't able to fit in the detail there. However, I am generally happy with the shaping of the head. Unfortunately, the Bricklink order I made for this guy was missing a piece, or rather had the wrong kind of piece. You can see here his neck is two studs stacked on top of each other. That second stud is supposed to be a jumper plate, which would then peg into the stud at the base of the head. Unfortunately, I was sent the wrong kind of jumper plate, so he has a bit of a longer neck than he should. I'm very happy with the shaping I was able to get on the torso. There is a little bit of a gap here where the chest meets the vents here, but I don't think it's too bad. I did try swapping it out for a panel piece, which did close the gap, but left a more unsightly gap along the sides. So I think that this chi-slope is the best option. While the yellow intakes are unfortunately missing their vents, I do like how the two blue chi-slopes in the midriff give the look of the two distinct vents that are supposed to be there. I also like the shaping of the red on the midriff. I think that's very clean. Taking a look from behind, you can see the mech's dark gray backpack and the two stowed beam sabers. I would have liked to use candles for the beam sabers so that they had less texture on them, but then the mech wouldn't be able to hold them. I kept the arms relatively simple, so they are missing some dark gray detailing in the elbows. I used droid arms to attach the front skirts, allowing them to fold up and out of the way. Unfortunately, there wasn't really much room to attach side skirts, so he is missing that detail. The thighs are relatively simple blocks, but they do have one fun technique. There's actually a roller skate embedded into the thigh, which helps attach the tile. You can see that there's a Travis brick here where the knee attaches, and then this roller skate also pegs into the tile, so it's attached by two studs. An interesting thing about the legs is that this whole chunk here is actually kind of at an angle, and there's a bar coming from this stud going into a headlight brick here. If I pop this off, you can see that more clearly. And if I pop off the other Nexo shield, you'll see that this whole thing kind of slots in there. So you're kind of actually bending the pieces by doing this. So this is where it usually is, and then when you attach the Nexo plates, everything kind of bends together and fits like that. The rifle is a pretty simple little build. You can see that I've used a clear plate here to represent the little slot that's supposed to be in the back of the gun. Unfortunately, I didn't actually include the rotation of the camera and the stock, so if you do want to position them differently, you just kind of have to pop it off and pop it back on. The shield is also pretty simple, as I just built it out of stacked wedge plates in the interest of keeping it thin. Underneath you can see the mounting point, which is attached by a single stud and, of course, can be moved to other positions on the shield. Both weapons simply stud into his hands. I've used coral candles to represent the pink blades of the beam sabers. Getting into articulation, the head is able to rotate left and right, as well as look up and down a little bit. The shoulders can go forward and back like this, and then they're kind of on two outward joints. The first one, which can only go out about this far, and then a second one in the bicep, which allows for the arm to swing out much further. You can see there is this ingot piece, which can be slid up like this to create a more uniform bicep, but then, of course, when you want to use the joint, you slide it down and you can get the full range. There's also a bicep swivel there and a 90-degree elbow. The elbow also has a pivot here, which allows for the wrist to kind of bend inwards like that, which can help with shield poses. The hand is also on a swivel. At the waist, he has a simple swivel joint. In the legs, there's a universal hip, which I'll show after I flip up the skirt there, and you can see he can kick forward decently far, can kick back about that far, and can kick out pretty much over any range you would actually need. On paper, the knees are double jointed, but in practice, you're not going to get the full double jointed range out of them. You end up really just getting a little bit over 90 degrees. There's also a swivel at the knee. At the ankles, there is a swivel as well as a tilt. Unfortunately, they can't really pivot in this direction very much. For a size comparison, here we have the RX-78 with a minifigure. And here we have it with Optimus Prime. This build definitely has its quirks, but for my first Gundam, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Also, while I may not be the biggest Gundam fan, I do genuinely love this design, and I'm very happy to have it built and able to be posed next to my other science fiction robots. But that's it for now, so I'll see you next time.